Back at it, as we got to fix that situation there, and those are the lines that run to the injectors to tell them to go squirty squirt. That rats got in here and chewed up while the bike sat ignored for several years. But to do that, we've got to pull the plastics off and potentially drop the radiator and remove the air box. Because you got to drop the radiator to get to the third bolt up on the front of the air box to get it out. But maybe, possibly, I might be able to get to this wiring by just removing the plastics and attack it from the side and not have to get to it from the top. But we will see. But the current fight is these old fairing fastener hardware are they're not real cooperative. So I'm going to try and squirt a little bit of sauce down on this one. There's a big bolt here at the bottom, and the little rubber that it screws into is just, it's not wanting to let go of the fastener. And then on the other side, when I pulled it off to do the battery, I was fighting a lot with these guys here. So I'm probably gonna have to do the same thing on this side. I fought with them so much that I eventually just said, screw that. I will leave that side on and just slightly bend it out of the way to get the battery in and out and hook it up, versus break these, because someone warned me that these plastics are very brittle, like eggshells, and they will not crack or break, they will shatter. And I don't want to have to replace all the fairings on this machine, as well as a tank. So that's what I'm working on now. So I got to get this bottom bolt out, and then this little guy right here out, which is also just kind of, you know, the little rubber that holds it on the other side is just free spinning when I turn the bolt. So I got to squirt it and then probably grab onto it with a pair of needle nose while I turn the bolt out. Yeah, a whole bunch of fun. So I'm gonna have to get replacement fairing mount hardware kit with all new little rubber grommets. So that's really the failure mode. The bolts themselves are fine, but these are just worn out. Check back here in a few. Tell you what, it is freaking hot out here. Well, this is the current situation. All the plastics, tanked back off. Had to pull the throttle bodies out of the way so that I could finally get the main wiring harness loom up to a position where I can at least work on it. I had to basically unplug most of the freaking engine harness and found much more damage. Then we've got that guy right there. It's all chewed. We need to fix that. And obviously we knew about the injector leads that are just chewed right off right there. You know, I didn't have any room to work down, you know, by the frame tube, so I had to get that up in the open, exposed, where I can actually work on it. And that is one of the injector leads. It's still on the injector, and I pulled the other one off just to get a better look at it. Chewed all the way through. But then while I was pulling the leads loose for the left side coil, I found more chewed wires. Chewed coil wires is not a good thing, but the rest of it seems to be okay. I hope I'm not seeing anything else that's really chewed up too bad. So once I can get them patched up, we should be able to get power to the injectors, and this thing should run, assuming that there's no other freaking gremlins or demons crawling around in it. But while I have the injectors off, I do want to at least check and look and make sure that the valves are opening and closing on at least the intake side. So I'm going to go grab the key. Alright, I got my connector pigtails repaired and elongated. We got the front one here that's got the pink wire. Pink is to the front. And I still need to fix this little guy. I think I might just pull the shielding off of it and wrap it real good, because it's only one of the wires that is has the insulator chute on it. And I still need to wrap my ignition circuit wire over here, but I ran out of long shrink tubing, so I'm going to need to go to Harbor Freight and pick up another variety pack of that so I can finish this off. I don't want them just bare unprotected. I want to put some shrink tubing around the long pigtails for once I get them all back on there, so hopefully they will have a little bit of protection from heat and evil little critters. But progress anyway. This wasn't too bad of a job. And nice and securely bonded. Nice new fresh wire. And the connectors themselves are okay. So yeah, fun. I gotta go to Victoria today anyway, so I will go by to Harbor Freight and pick me up some more shrink tubing. Alright, I have picked up some more heat shrink tubing and some liquid tape, and I have the system rebuilt as of now. So that is horizontal cylinder injector line. I'm sorry, I'm backwards. That's the vertical. The horizontal I put on its deal so I could remember which one was which. Yeah, so I'm just waiting on my liquid tape to kind of cure up a little bit so I don't make an absolute mess of everything. And then I can put this thing back, mostly together, and we can try to fire it up. So hopefully here in the next hour or two, we'll have a running machine. Alright, my liquid tape is all cured up, and I'm started to put everything back where it goes. The injector connectors are hooked back up. TP, MS, or TPS, throttle position sensor, is hooked back up. And I decided, since I went ahead and put the throttle bodies back into place, now that I've got the intake ports closed off, I'm going to try and blow some of this crap out of here and clean it up a little bit with some compressed air. Oh, come on. Dirty. Hoping that all the dirt isn't keeping stuff from leaking. And now that it's going to be clean, it'll just have leaks everywhere. So we'll see and deal with it if we got to deal with it. That paint on the engine is bad. Look at that, that's just flaking off. Well, that's what happens when they're not taken care of. Wouldn't have expected the cases to be that damn corroded though. God dang. That's just all kinds of nasty. So, at some point, I'll likely be tearing the whole bike down so that I can clean the motor up and give it some fresh paint. Well, we're not doing that today. We just want to make sure the thing runs before we put too much more effort into it. Because if it don't run, then all the bling and good looking and paint in the world don't matter. Funky. So funky. But that's a little better anyway. And we'll continue hooking everything else back up. Yeehaw. Alright. Electricals are all hooked back up. Been routed pretty much where they need to go. I just haven't zip tied anything. Tank is back on and hooked back up. I'm gonna go get the key. And we got a blinky blink. It's not solid, so hopefully that's a good sign that we haven't caused the immobilizer to make it immobile. But we will see if this thing will fire up. Alright. We have fuelie pump. We have fuelie pump. Fuelie pump, fuelie pumps. It pumps the fuel. Prime it a few times here. Immobilizer light comes on, then shuts off. That's a good sign. Where this bike is just under 30,000 miles. I'm hearing fuel. Alright, well here goes nothing. Try it with some, and it's not a choke, it is a fast idle control is what that thing is called according to the Ducati guys. Here we go. Holy shit. Holy shit, it's alive. It's running. It's alive, it's alive. And the tack works. How about that? It may actually run out of fuel. There's not a whole lot in that tank. Ducati is alive. Seems like it's even on fast idle. There we go. About 1,000 RPM. And that clutch sounds horrible. And it still doesn't disengage. So I think it is just bonded and I may need to break it loose. I might have to pull it apart. Don't know yet. But hey, it is alive. Falls back down to idle. Idle's smooth-ish. I'm assuming that's smooth. How about that? It's alive. And that actually kind of sounds like it's up here. I don't know. Or is it the clutch? I can't tell. This side doesn't sound so loud. Ducati people, is that normal? Kind of making some noise up there. Okay, it sounds like it's coming from here more than it is up here. That makes me feel a little bit better about the valve situation and the Desmo. Just clicking right along. Well, how about that? She's alive. And the engine kills the engine. So that's a good sign. Alright, so now that we know it runs, and it actually sounds pretty decent, we can move forward and go ahead and start getting the rest of the stuff it's going to need. I know I need fork seals because that is toast on the right side. I'm probably going to need another nose cone because like I think I showed you in this video, that was busted, like somebody had dropped it at some point. I'll probably need replacement mirror springs. The mirrors themselves and the plates and all that are okay, but the springs are just really weak. Oh, looky there, some more freaking rat shoe. But I can hit that with some other liquid tape and that'll be alright. For some reason my neutral light was not coming on. It's in neutral, so I either need to adjust or replace the neutral safety switch or trace that down and make sure that circuit is okay. Not sure what's going on there. I'm waiting on a clutch bleeder screw because that one was seized, and when I tried to bleed it, it just snapped off as soon as I put any tension on it. Here is the little snapped off head. Yeah, come here. He just snapped right off. Karudi. I need a replacement reservoir if I don't end up using my I think I got a set of LS1 racing controls, both sides I might put on there, or just replace that. I think those are like 15 or 16 bucks if I don't need to rebuild that master cylinder. The rear brake is working. Gonna need a chain. and a new set of fairing hardware is on the way. I just ordered that yesterday or the day before. But assuming the clutch cooperates, when I'm able to fully bleed that system out, we should be able to ride it as is. I don't need a front brake just to test everything out. And I think the front forks will be okay. I don't see signs of major leakage, so it should still have some oil in it. Just to function check everything, run through the transmission, check the steering, make sure I ain't got no weebles or wobbles or whiny coming from the transmission or anything like that going on. All the lights work, turn signals work, horn beeps. So yeah, that's major progress there. And we know it's alive. Excited. Y'all excited? I'm excited. I might be able to have this thing ready for the meetup in Houston for the Crash Test Goat channel in, was it July? But I don't want to get my hopes up too much just yet. May still end up having to take the Bandit for that. It's kind of sad. The tires are, there's like no wear on them. But for age, I don't know if I would want to trust them. They've been on there for a little while. And this thing sat up for at least 3 years and sat up before my buddy got it for who knows how long. The original owner bought this machine in Italy and toured Europe on it, and then had it shipped to Montana. I think it was in Montana, and then he toured and went around in, you know, Canada and whatnot. But he was a doctor, and he was getting up there in years, 80 something years old, and actually gave it to my buddy. He's like, hey, do you want a motorcycle? I have one that I don't need. He was moving back to Italy, and he didn't want to ship it back to Italy, so he gave it to my friend, who in turn basically just gave it to me, because it had sat, you know, just sat exposed to the weather. Shortly after he got it, he rode it around once or twice and then parked it, just let it sit. So he saw the hurt in my eyes when I saw the condition of this poor thing. He's like, well, load it up, take it home. I'm like, well, all right. He's like, oh, here's the title. I'm like, God, that's too much, man. But hey, at least it's getting some love, and it will get ridden. And I will tour on it. I will ride this thing, you know, back and forth across the country. But yeah, very pleased, very pleased. It's alive. We got her running, and that's the biggest step. Now we can safely go ahead and throw some more money at it. So far, it hadn't been too much, you know, other than the tank and the fuel pump. But yeah, I think it deserves it. What do y'all think? Do y'all think it deserves it? And what do y'all think about paint? Should I paint it? So I'm probably going to end up having to get another nose cone anyway. I saw one on eBay for, I don't know, 150, 160 bucks, plus however damn much they want for shipping that's this same color, but I could always find another one or find a red one or whatever. I'm not opposed to painting it, but I'm kind of partial at this point to the red on the gunmetal. But at the same time, kind of hesitant to leave it this gunmetal because it blends in so well to the road. And I had a warning from one of the guys on the ST Facebook group about his that was all this color, and he got hit like twice because people just didn't see him until he repainted it red and white. And he didn't get hit no more. So I don't know. But what do y'all think? It's definitely going to have to get some paint at some point. Like I said, once everything is happy and I know it's happy, I'll tear it all the way down, pull the motor, clean it all off, and repaint it. Because I think it deserves it. The frame is actually not too terrible. There's a couple tiny little spots like on the welds here and there, but the rest of it is, I mean, just fine. It's pristine. Well, there we go. Are y'all excited? I'm excited. Thanks for watching.